Number one mistake that I see women over 40, women go through perimenopause and menopause, doing consistently is cutting out carbs. And this is by no fault of your own if you've cut out carbs in the past. This is what so many people in the keto crowd tells you to do because carbs are what's making you fat. Well, I'm here to say that's not true at all. It just so happens that most of the carbs that people are eating in the standard American diet are highly refined, processed carbs and sugars that you might find in your pantry or on the center aisles of the grocery store. And those are easily eaten, they're highly caloric, and they don't fill you up, so you just want more and more and more of them. And that's really where this cutting out carbs myth comes from. And I can tell you right now, if you cut out carbs, initially the scale will drop, maybe 5 to 10 pounds. A lot of it's going to be inflammation and water, but I will say the scale will almost always go back up after you cut out those carbs, especially because you're probably not going to be able to cut carbs out for an extended period of time. It's not a sustainable diet change. And so once you bring those carbs back in, then weight will come back. Also, carbs are your body's preferred energy source. 80% of the energy that you expend daily is used through carbohydrates. It prefers carbs each and every day for the majority of your tasks. Carbs are also helpful in building muscle. Your muscle loves to pull in glucose. It loves to pull in that muscle glycogen and use the carbohydrates in order to build and perform. And muscle is huge in your fat loss journey. If you want to learn a little bit more about building muscle and why that's important, you can go watch my previous video that I did on my channel. Which in turn comes back to, if you're not eating enough carbs, your body's got to find preferred energy from somewhere else, which a lot of times happens to be muscle. It starts paring down muscle in order to pull in that energy that it needs. Granted, if you're way overeating calories, then that's not going to be the case. But most of the time, the women that I'm talking to are not eating enough calories. So make sure you're eating enough carbs in order to, have the energy, avoid like insane brain fog, insane cravings, and have a sustainable weight loss plan. Is that currently, if you're trying to lose weight, or if you've off and on for years been trying to lose weight or dieting, you've got to stop dieting. It is the exact opposite of what you really should be doing. Because if you've been trying to lose weight for years and now you're going through these hormone changes and maybe you have a little bit more weight in your midsection, this is your real goal. You want to lose that fat. And dieting seems like the only logical solution because that's what you've been told to do for such a long time. That's what you've done in the past, and the weight's kind of come off, but then it kind of comes back. And now you're kind of stuck because you're dieting, you're not eating very much, you feel like you're eating less and less, and now nothing's happening. If that's the case, you need to do the opposite of dieting. We need to build some muscle. We need to increase your metabolic health, speed up your metabolism in order to lose that fat. But to build muscle, we cannot be in a caloric deficit, which is what usually happens when someone's dieting. You're not eating enough food, therefore you start losing weight. But to build more muscle, we have to understand that calorie balance a little better. You have to eat more food to fuel your body the right way. Tearing down muscle or losing muscle actually happens when you're in this caloric deficit, especially if you're not strength training, so your muscle has no reason to be there. Your body's smart. So if you're in a time of scarcity, your body thinks at least that you're in a time of scarcity. It's going to break down something that's not going to help feed it later. So it's not going to break down fat. It's going to break down muscle, because the more muscle you have, the more calories you're going to burn day to day. And so your muscle thinks, we can't burn this many calories to survive, so let's pare down the thing that's burning all these calories, which is muscle. So by eating too little, you're actually doing the opposite of what you want to do. Even if you want to lose fat at the same time, it's not really gonna happen. If you're trying to lose fat and build muscle at the same time in perimenopause and menopause, it's gonna be like trying to turn left and right at the same time in a car. It's just not possible. It's not going to happen. And it can happen for some people. It is possible for some people. For 99% of the population, it's not. So we need to eat more food starting out to build muscle. You got to get those calories up. And there's a thing called maintenance calories. If you haven't heard of that before, it's essentially when you don't gain or lose weight. You can eat at maintenance calories and see some muscle growth, but you're going to actually see better muscle growth by eating more calories than your maintenance. And then maintenance calories are going to look different for everybody. So you actually have to calculate or get somebody to calculate it for you. The online calculators aren't great. So if you want to talk about calculating your calories, drop a comment or send me a message and I can help you. I coach a lot of women, and every person that comes into my program, the first thing we work on most of the time is protein. Even the women that come in and say, well, I do put a focus on protein, are very short on it. 50, 60 grams short on the protein that they should be getting. Now, why do you actually need more protein? Well, protein helps build that muscle that we just talked about. That's one thing. Protein also helps keep you full. So if you have these late night cravings, or if you're hungry and snacky throughout the day, it's shown that you're not getting enough protein, probably not enough fiber either, but we'll talk about that later. The protein's going to help keep you full. It's heavier on the stomach. Protein also burns more calories to digest. So it's going to burn more calories than carbs or fats. Not saying carbs or fats are bad. You need both of those. But it's going to burn more calories as you digest. And it's going to help speed up your metabolism day to day. Now, as you're adding protein, you're going to notice initially that you might start losing weight pretty quickly. Because as you feel fuller, you're going to eat less, you're going to want to snack less, you're going to have less cravings, and that protein is going to burn a little bit more calories to maybe offset that calorie deficit. So you're going to instantly see great results. And you're probably also going to feel a lot better. But a couple things to be aware of. Protein is heavier on the stomach. It's harder to digest. So initially, you're going to feel very full. This will adjust. Your stomach will get used to that. So you're going to eat more protein, feel more full, just kind of stay at that protein amount that you're eating, and then go up slowly once you start getting used to that amount of protein. Now, if you were experiencing bloating or constipation, that is your sign to back off a little bit and probably add in a little bit of extra fiber to help with that digestion and to help with those movements. And if you like this one, maybe you should subscribe. I have a video every Sunday helping women over 40 going through perimenopause and menopause see the fat loss and success with their health that they want to see. Hope to see you at the next video.